Very good morning, friends. I am Nalini Swami. Welcoming to my channel, Smart Index Edge. Today in this video, I am going to help the traders with rewiring of a trader's brain using 3R technique, that is triple R technique. The part 1 includes recognize and reframe and replace. These are the 3 steps a trader has to do that. Every trader begins with hope. Hope that this strategy will work. Hope that this indicator will change everything. Hope that this trade will recover the previous loss. But slowly, something else starts happening. After one loss, we change strategy. After 2 losses, we doubt the setup. After 3 losses, we start searching again. And without even recognizing it, we enter a dangerous loop. Strategy hopping. Traders hops from one strategy to the another strategy, like iron condors today, spreads tomorrow, directional next week, something new again next month. It feels like learning, but actually it is avoidance of consistency. Every strategy has a cycle. Some trades work, some trades don't work. The edge appears only after repeated execution with discipline. But most traders never stay long enough to see the edge. They leave after losses. Sometimes they even leave after profits also and restart again from zero. This is what exactly Mark Douglas called the black hole of learning. You keep learning more but growing less. Why does this happen? Because trading is designed against the normal human brain. Our brain wants certainty. Trading works on probability. See, our brain wants certainty. Trading works on probability. Our brain avoids pain. Trading demands accepting drawdowns. Trading demands discipline. So the first step to become a consistent trader is simple. Recognize the pattern. Spot the mistake, identify the pattern, and break the loop. This is where you have to recognize. Every day when the day starts, the trader will start with so much of imagines. I'll take the losses today. Revenge day. And I will make profit today. And listening to the news, gap ups, gap downs, world global news, war news, everything. That by listening to them, you will have biased ideas. You have to spot that mistake. You have to identify what pattern of your brain is thinking, because thoughts are leading for emotions. Emotions create mistakes. So you have to start. So these are the emotions you have to watch. What are the emotions? How I am starting my day? You have to recognize those patterns. That is the first step in the triple R technique of rewiring the brain of a trader. You have to spot the mistakes, what you are thinking, what you are doing, what is the pattern of your thinking, and you have to break the loop. Reframe. Next step is reframe. Change your perspective, think in probabilities, accept drawdowns. Recognize the pattern means recognize when fear is making decisions. With fear only you are making decisions, right? You will be in a good trade, but you erase the trade. You don't stay on the trade. And you will be in a losing trade. You start averaging the trade. That is the mistake. You have to spot that mistake. Recognize when fear is making decisions. You are making decisions with fear, right? That is the fear actually. Losing trade, averaging, and not staying in the trade which is profitable. Recognize when inconsistency is disguised as learning. That is inconsistency. You are recognizing it as learning. Recognize when you are changing systems instead of improving execution. Those are the steps you need to recognize those mistakes. When you start recognizing this, the moment you recognize this loop, your transformation begins. Second step is reframe. Once you recognize the mistake, now the next step is to change how you look at losses. Loss means strategy is wrong, but professionals think differently. Loss means the strategy cycle is unfolding. Loss means probability is playing out. Loss means execution consistency is being tested. A drawdown is not failure. It is part of statistical reality. So professionals think differently like this. No strategy works every day. No system wins every week. No trader avoids losing streaks. Consistency is not built by avoiding losses. Consistency is built by surviving them. So instead of saying, start reframing like this. My system failed me. Start saying, my discipline is being trained. Instead of saying this setup stopped working, start saying this setup is in its normal cycle. Instead of saying I need a better strategy, start saying I need better execution consistency. This shift changes everything. And start responding professionally. Accept the drawdowns. Next step is in the triple R rewiring of the trader's brain, replace everything. Replace confusion with clarity. Replace randomness with the structure. Replace hesitation with rules. Replace fear with process. This is where most traders struggle. Because they don't have a framework to trust. They don't have a mentor to guide. They don't have a structure to follow repeatedly. So they go back into the loop again, learning something new, trying something different. But consistency begins the moment you follow one framework long enough. It is not just an indicator. It is my Nalini. This is exactly why I built the Nalini Precision Engine. It is not just an indicator. It helps traders recognize high probability zones. Wait patiently for precision entries. Trade with smaller stop loss. Avoid emotional decisions. And most importantly, stay consistent with one method. Instead of jumping between strategies, you start executing with confidence. Instead of guessing direction, you start reading structure. Instead of reacting emotionally, you start acting systematically. This is how brain rewiring happens in trading. First, you recognize the mistake, then you reframe your thinking, then you replace randomness with structure. And slowly, your trading stops becoming stressful and starts becoming professional. Consistency comes from trusting one framework and executing with discipline over time. So, these are the triple R method, rewiring your trader's brain. It is a must. Trader has to do that. I've explained how to recognize, how to reframe and replace. This is not the strategy failing. It is hopping from one strategy to another makes you people into a vicious loop cycle. So first replace it. Recognize that. Recognize your thoughts. Observe your thoughts. Then when thoughts will convert into emotions. If you start observing the thoughts, you stop it. Then reframe it. No, I will don't take revenge trade. Morning itself, yesterday you have gone into losses. I am going to take a revenge trade, or I am going to recover all the losses. Don't start that. Change your things, perspective. Think in probabilities. The final step, when you replace by following one strategy, you build consistent habits and you execute with discipline. And this is where my Nalini precision indicator comes over here. Let me take out this. Let me remove the drawings and apply my indicator. This is the Nalini Precision Engine, which has been designed for everything. See, for example, I've included the trend indicator. Trend indicator GAN Hilo. It runs along. It says, see, from the start to the beginning, here till here, trend has not flipped. It is in between flipping. That's it. And in an intraday time frame, let me go to the 15 minutes. See, I have not applied rolling pivot in this system. In the settings, I have disabled the rolling pivot, and I'll show you why rolling pivot helps you. Here, trend has flipped, and automatically this indicator plots the initial level 1 levels. So level 1 pivots from the starting, from 9:13 a.m. itself, it starts plotting. You get the pivot R1, R2, S1, S2, and you get to see the previous day levels, level 1 layer levels. This is where actually market has crossed the R2 on the previous day and it has rallied. When it starts rallying automatically, when the next day opens, say for example, yesterday it opened, it started coming down and this trend indicator is intact. And automatically these layers are formed. Level 1 layers, pivot, S1, S2. S1 and S2 are aligning above the previous day R2. That is beautiful. And trend is holding. You get the levels. And see, for example, this is the pivot. Immediately when you start coming down, when the price comes down, and this is the candle you are seeing, such a huge candle engulfing this red candle. You enter into the trade, but the trade doesn't materialize. It goes and hits the pivot and stops out. Because pivot is there. And if I enable the rolling pivot over here, I'm enabling the rolling pivot here. See, these are the level 1 plotted on the chart. With that, when the market, this is neutral. Why it becomes dark red? This pivot, it has plotted. Every box plots R1, R2, pivot, S1 and S2 with the framework, with the trend indicator. See, when the price starts moving here, this pivot has not changed its color at all. It is black. That is, it indicates all the R1, R2, S1, S2, and it is psychologically telling you, visually, you are seeing that I should not take the trade. When it is neutral, why it is neutral? Even though it is above the trend indicator, it is neutral. That means price is below the pivot. You get to know you should not enter into the trade. Right? Next comes, it comes and goes below the first hour low, sweeping this liquidity closing here. This is also, you are learning the liquidity concept. Structure. You are seeing the structure and price starts moving, closing above the pivot. Do you see here? The price is not closing above the pivot. Even though it is below the level 1 pivot, the trend start begins at the bottom. You get an entry, early entry with minimal stop loss. Minimal stop loss, you enter here when it start crossing, and for example, you have entered around 22,000. If I place a cursor, horizontal line, 22,597, your stop loss is here. Automatically, when the price changes and the pivot changes, price climbs above the pivot and closes above the pivot, the pivots are changing color. Psychological boost, you are confident. Combined with the trend, combined with pivots turning their colors, that is indicating that it is a proper setup, proper execution. You are executing the trade with minimal stop loss. It is consistency. Even if you go back, I'll go back and show it to you how this Nalini Precision, that's why it is Precision Engine. Why? Why it is Precision Engine? Because it derives the data from the price. Not from the derivative indicators like RSI, MACD, other indicators. It is deriving the data from directly from the price, and it gives you balanced prices, calculates, goes back to it has been automatically coded for hourly pivots. Then 4 15 minutes candle will give you the pivot, and it says that price is below the balance area. Then it becomes neutral. When price starts climbing above the balance area, it is gaining balance. It indicates that the calculation indicates that it plots yellow color visually. You are entering with consistency. And the next step in this one is level 2 precision. Level 2 areas. Level 2 are plotted exactly at the 12 p.m. because that is the London session opening. Other time frame traders come into the market. Volatility, volume increases. So the market will be influenced by the other time frame traders and other time frame volumes. There you get automatically these lines are plotted on the chart. This indicates the pivot. This is S1, S2, same thing. R1, R2. Here you are already entered into the trade, and this is the confidence, and it goes above that. Even though you see after a big green color candle, a reversal, this is to trap the people. You can see the candle over here, sweeping the liquidity, sweeping and liquidity closing about it. You have to read the candles also. You must know the, see, it swept the first hour liquidity and go there, and it is sweeping this liquidity candle. Within this hour, it is sweeping the liquidity of this candle and price is moving. So huge candle, and it is moving. When the price comes to this, see the low of the candle testing the S2. This is the flip level and market moves on. Later, it started becoming choppy. Around 1:30, you can see choppiness in the candle. To induce sellers. Induce sellers premium decay and not, they don't want premium to increase in their price. That is the intention. And finally, it crosses above the R2. Still, the trend pivot is yellow. Trend is intact. This is how the Nalini Precision Engine, you stick on to this. Stick on to this. Not only this for the intraday trade, it also has been coded for stock selection also. Morning itself, trend came into the, with this indicator, trend came based on the 6 hour time frame bias, it has been coded. trend came into the picture, stock came into the picture. If I go to the stocks and I type in trend, so beautifully you could have taken this trade. Even though it gaps up, right? Let me hide the rolling pivot to see this. First, let me hide the rolling pivot. See the levels, layer 1 levels have been plotted. The market has gapped up and trend is intact. So I need the entry, proper entry. Then if I enable the rolling pivot, see the rolling pivot. It is turning yellow. Here itself, it is above the pivot, level 1, layer 1 pivot. If I change the time frame to still lower, you can see the price. This is based on the 1 minute time frame. Initial, it is telling you it is above the pivot. When it is above the pivot, this yellow is pivot and this is R2, and if you go back, it is the last box, R2 box, which is aligning with this, and price, even this, if you go back, this also, it is above this, right? And if you go and see, go to the historical price, this is the 12 p.m. pivot from where the market has broken down. And if I go there, let me reset the chart. It is exactly there. Exactly, it made a pin bar and it is moving higher. This is how the precision. You are entering, you have entered into the trade. See, it made, you can read the structure over here. In the lower time frame, made an high, low, low and higher low, with the pivot as your visual support, and it line plotted over here 3673. The low made was 3675.50. The pivot line it is giving on the value, price level, you can see 3673, 3696, 3723. These are the levels, 3623, 3646. You got an entry earlier and you got the stop. It is 6-hour break buy level, and if you would have entered into the 3700 3700 call option, from 190 it rallied up to 330. You are even the options you can enter into, so precision, and it is going sideways. This is an accumulation phase. What happened during the 12 p.m. levels and above, the pivot is above, supporting even though the compression has taken place over here, price compression and then expansion. It expanded up till the end of the closing of the day. So friends, from now onwards, you start training your brain, rewire your brain for the triple R method. Recognize, reframe, and replace. Do not hop from one strategy to another strategy. And my Nalini Precision Engine has been built taking care of psychology, And strategy, it is a structure actually you can learn. It is a teaching indicator. You can learn structure also. And this is, you get an entry with precision, with minimal stop loss, without fear, without any hesitation. You can enter into the trade, you can be stay in the trade, and you will not execute wrong trades. You will recognize the trend, and you will trend at the proper time. You will learn to wait patiently for the trade to come to your. It says trade has not come over here. That's what I showed you in Nifty. Trade came only after, even though the trend was intact. Let me go there. Trend was intact here. Trend was intact when I changed the time frame to 15 minutes. Let it load. The trade came over here at this level at the exact time of 11:15, around 12. Every day you see over here. See, trade came, it was below the pivot, totally red because it was below the Gann Hilo. There was no trade. You cannot enter into the trade. People do mistake entering. Early entry, premium of, with the time wise, premium will lose like anything. You enter here, but for your this one, amazeness, the premium will go below this. It is underlying chart because options premium are designed for theta decay. With the time, they lose their premium. So that's why you cannot, the structure will differ from the underlying to the options. So with this indicator, you learn this. See, it turned neutral. Price is above the pivot. It is not in the combination with Gann Hilo. Gann Hilo has not trend has not turned positive. But here you could have entered into the trade with the minimal stop loss because price has climbed above the pivot, not anywhere here. And it pierced through the level 1 pivot. And then you can see the trend flipped, and also the color of the pivot, it turned yellow, and all these pivots R1, R2, S1, S2, they turned green. They gave green signal, and the trend continued. Price closed till the end. At the top, same thing has happened today also. It has stopped. Probably level, see, here R2 is very near. Here R2 is very, very far off. If the market starts coming down, it may break the R2. Or if it starts moving higher, it can proceed higher. Probably the market can gap up. The market, because the trend continuation, because it has crossed this level R2 on the historical levels, it has crossed, right? Then we may not get discount like this. We may get a gap up to this pivot level 23,100. That is the level 1 reference point from where it has lost its balance. it may immediately pop up to 20. 1 minute. Sorry, let me adjust this. This line, I'm not getting the level. 23,109. There, it may give discount. At that time, levels for our first intraday trade will be layer 1 levels will be formed. Then these layer 1 levels, I can imagine and I can guess these layer 1 levels will be compressed. They will be very narrow. Suppose if the market starts trading above the layer 1 levels, pivot R1 and R2, we may get the explosion movement to the level of 23,300 to 23,200 today itself. The market can rally up to 23,200 and above. You can have this. With the reference of this, you can make out reference levels are over here, level 1 reference. Yes, friends. Probably market may gap up. It may not give discount. It may not give discount and it may gap up, and then layer 1 levels will be formed, and next step is to recognize the levels and wait for the trend will be intact. Trend will be, even though if it comes down to S2 also, in case if it comes down, trend will be intact. So you get the trade at any point of time. With the rolling pivot, precision entry will be there. That is the name for this, my indicator, Nalini Precision Engine. So friends, rewire your brain with RRR technique. Recognize, replace, and reframe. Thank you very much, friends. Nalinakshi Swami, signing off.